followed by William Ida Jr.
Yes, thank you. Aloha kākou. My name is Bill Prescott. I am a native Hawaiian. I live in Princess Kahana, next to Ulahaba Stream. And I'm going to be skipping around. I'm really not prepared with my prepared statements, but I'd like to comment on all this concern about contamination in Makua. And yet, there's no concern over the contamination being found right here in Nanakuli. We got 2 rubbish dumps. It's full of trash. It's full of garbage. It's full of everything. You know that rubbish dump up there in Lulule Road? That guy, when it rains heavy, that rubbish winds up in Ulihaba Canal, and it runs down past our place. And you know, there's so much contaminants in there that no one dares to go and walk in there. Yet, there's no concern. And there's all this concern about munitions, contaminants from munitions. Yet, you know where the greatest amount of munitions can be found in the water? Pearl Harbor. And yet nobody is saying anything about that. You can blame the Japanese for that, 1941, and nobody cares. But they care about Makua. You know, the reason I'm up here is because I care about the lives of our soldiers. Many of us, in the post that I am now post commander in, are trained in Hawaii. Many of us trained right here in Makua. And you know what? Thousands of the men who fought for us, trained in Makua, gave their lives so that we can enjoy the rights of free speech, assembly, the freedoms that we enjoy. And you know what? The military is here, not by their choice, but by the people that you elected, the congressional representatives that you elected brought them here. And I'm talking about Senator Danny Noy, who recently sent me a letter saying that it is imperative that our soldiers get the training that they need before they are sent in harm's way. This is why I'm up here. I'm worried about our people. My neighbor right now had to go up and train in Texas. He left behind his wife and 13-year-old daughter. And he's right now in Iraq. The president of our Princess Kahana Association, her son just returned from Iraq. So there's a lot of our Hawaiians, the silent majority, who fully support our military training in Makua. And you know, you talk about all these contaminants in Makua, and yet there is no evidence of the consequences as a result of this contamination. I haven't heard any. People are still fishing and eating all of that fish. Another thing that bothers me is, really, is it pollutants that some of our protesters are concerned about, or is it about religious and spiritual concerns, which we read about so much in the newspapers? If anyone has studied Hawaiian history, you know fully well that the Hawaiian religion is non-existent. It was abolished by Kamehameha II in 1819, and we do not have any Hawaiian churches out here that praise to Hawaiian gods. And so I'm asking you all, please, support our soldiers. They need the training. And our military tells us they need to use Makua. Pollutants and whatever contaminants you can find in Makua can be treated, and they can be neutralized. The lives of our soldiers they're one of a kind. they lose their life, you can't bring them back. So we owe it to our soldiers to give them as much support as we possibly can. They're in Hawaii, they provide for our economy. My gosh, let them alone, let them train and do what they need to do to get ready to fight these terrorists. And we do have a threat in the Far East. And let me tell you, we have Marines right now that are fighting terrorists in the Philippines. So the threat is there. Leave our soldiers alone. Thank you.
William Island, followed by NC Ben Lahanakay.
Aloha mai kako, everyone. Welcome to beautiful Nanakui. And in honor of Kupuna who sit in the ground right outside the door there, let me just recognize them and make Puma there do some work. Noe wale mai, I ka aina o Nanakui. E kihe a ahu no Nanakui. Ho'okahi wale ka makakiai. Nā iwa e iolana ne I ka lewa. Ho'olewa, ho'omali nā pū o lewa. Ho'omoe, ho'ohohonu, I ka poli o haumia. I ka aina o Nanakui. That was just a little bit of Hawaiian religion for Cresta. Thank you. I want to just point out a few things mechanically. In the analysis of this study so far, there's no evidence of any current studies or wave studies that can back up the conclusion that the pollution that's measured in the Muliwai or in the neutral waters can be coming from someplace else. I personally don't know of any heavy industries on the Wailua side of the Waianae mountain range. I don't know of any landfills in Makua, unless the Army puts them there. There was a bomb crater dump there once, and when we brought it to their attention and we asked to visit it, it mysteriously disappeared. All of a sudden some trucks came in and the bomb crater dump was no longer in existence. Not making anything up, that's the truth. You can verify that. So these anthropogenic, fancy word for man-made here, anthropogenic terms, causes, potential causes that are on that list right there. I'm sorry, my eyes are pretty good, but when I stand in Makua, I just don't see it. In fact, if Johnny Alamino was around here for some of the older folks, I don't think he could see it. There's a big flaw in the study. You didn't catch enough samples. You didn't find enough samples. So why did you stop? Why didn't you keep fishing? Why didn't you sample throughout different periods? Like when the vana is fat. When the vana is fat, guess what? If there are potential chemicals of concern, guess what? It's going to be accumulated in a much higher. And all of the food in this room raising their head because they know that's why that thing tastes the best when it's fat. But there was no accommodation for testing during the certain times and seasons. Although we did bring that up. I do remember bringing that up in 2006. There's a couple other things we brought up in 2006. April 5th to be exact, in a letter to Army Corps of Engineers, Mr. Gary Shirokata. The study isn't comprehensive enough. The study has no analysis of cumulative impacts nor the interactions of multiple contaminants. Guess what? The draft study still doesn't. 2006 now. It's over 3 years, almost 3 years ago. The sampling period did not take into consideration at the time of year that individual species have the higher fat content. I just say that. Sometimes you gotta say that again because I learned it. Sometimes you gotta say things more than once so that it sinks in. If you're into media, and I know some of you are, some of you guys that work for the Army, you should usually say it 3 times. But I'm going to say it twice because I think you got it. And the third time that I'm going to say this one thing because David said it, and Dr. Dodge said it, and Vince Dodge said it, so I'll say it a 4th time. The control site should be in a pristine area. And we gave examples in 2006, like the north side of Molokai, because there was no army training there, like the Napali coast. And we had people that said, well, you know, it's got to be kind of like the same. It's got to have white sand beach and it's got to have reef offshore fish. All of those locations have valleys, white sand beach, and fish offshore. And certain times of the year, they have buliwai too. The only difference is they never had any military training. So if we're going to have a good study, which is what we're hoping, I hope that my kids have no problem eating the fish from there. But I don't believe the study that you have right now. Just as we didn't believe the pre-study that you did, and these are the same criticisms of that study, obviously not taken into consideration. And I may not be a scientist, but it kind of makes sense to me that if you're going to make a comparison about the impacts of military training on an area, you should compare it to an area that hasn't been used for military training. Narakuli, they can tell you, their soldiers bivouacked over here in the 1940s. That's why the homesteaders up here, when they dig in the back of the yard, they still find grenades and other things. I don't know who you may consult, but Sandy Beach, guess what? 1940s, they had military guys bivouac over there. So there was a military impact to those sites. So it's not a fair comparison. And if you want us to have some hope of integrity, that the words that you spoke at the beginning of this evening, oh my God, integrity in the study, then you have to consider, well, we brought up in 2005, in 2006, and what we're bringing up again tonight in 2009. There's no discussion or indication that Tetra Tech was given information regarding the open burn and open detonation activities that occurred in Makua. Of course, there's a good chance that there's perchlorate there, and you've measured it. Because what happens when you burn contaminated diesel or jet fuel? You get chemicals like that. You get chemicals like dioxins. You get those things. And the open burn and open detonation, I can tell you, the record keeping was pretty bad. You know what the procedure was? You go to Schofield, you get the key, you take anything you like to Makua and you dispose of it. You don't have to fill in paperwork, you just have to go get the key. So who knows what else is there? Yeah? Who knows what else is there? Arsenic. In this pala, there's no discussion of is it organic or is it inorganic? Because if it's inorganic, then it's a lot more dangerous. If it's organic, it's not so bad. But there's no discussion. So when we ask what the health impacts are, you tell us you got arsenic, but they don't tell you what kind. Kind of hard to believe. Very hard to believe. Very, very hard to see integrity in this process. That board of conclusions over there, it's amazing. It's a study in public relations. Because in the study itself, on page ES 11, Tetra Tech is very careful to say that although this report and other reports have not provided any definitive evidence that links military training to resource contamination, these reports also do not definitively exclude the possibility that the military activities could contribute to the pollution. So in the report, buried someplace in the middle where you're not going to pay attention, is this statement that says, those scientists, to the best of their ability, cannot tell you yes, that there's hazards, and cannot tell you no, that there's not hazards. But the spin, and I challenge every one of you to go read that second poster board over there, the conclusions never mention that statement. It just mentions that we think that it's safe. We don't think that the military use of makua has contributed to any of those chemicals. And there's a long list. Go get it. There's a long list of dioxins, there's a long list of metals, there's a long list of other chemicals that have been reported in the fish, in the limo, in the hautuki, that to today, hautuki's go down and eat. So all we're asking you is, if you're true to your word, when you say that you want to treat the community with dignity and respect and answer our questions, then start being honest with us. Start listening to what we say. Give us the answers that we deserve. And real quickly, I mahalo all the guys that went and worked hard for us in Iraq and Afghanistan. But for the last 5 years, not only trained in Makua, and they were trained very well. They performed very well. So it's very clear that Makua is not needed for the Army to be trained and to go to war. And I think that's a very important point that has to be made. That's not specifically part of this study, but since we were talking about that, we need to conclude that. Thank you.
Na poe no ke aina o nana hui aloha kako. O wahimi kui kua le ua kua kea wales hana kai ko inoa mai ke kanohi kupu ahina no wau o ioi no molo ka inui ahina molo ka ino ka heke. Mahalo for this opportunity to hear the mana'o. I am here as part of the Ahakiole, and our mission, our philosophy, our belief is to preserve, to take care of our resources from the kaiuliuli to the highest level, the level nu'u, level lani, all of the resources in between. That we have a kuleana to come to malama those resources. And I'm so thankful to have heard all of the testimonies that preceded us. Yes, I mahalo na koa kaua, the soldiers that have served to protect our freedoms. And at the same time, when we look at how Kupuna took care from ancient times, how their mana'o was to preserve the resources so that futures unseen, generations unseen into the future would have those sources of life because of our pili to the kai, to the aina, because they knew that it possessed uhane and intelligence. That was the mana'o of our kupuna. And my concern as I listened to the studies that were made, the study that was made of Makua is that there's no indication that consultation was ever made between cultural practitioners and the military. Because if there was that consultation process, then you would have been very aware of the seasons, the Hawaiian seasons, that if you did your study during a dry period, the fish would be different, the limu would be different in the kai. Aupupuna knew when the hala is pala, momona kavana, kau kahe. They knew that, and so there are seasons, and those seasons determine whether the marine, the fishes spawn, or they were fat, or it was time to harvest. And so unless a study is done at the appropriate time, and one of the gentlemen that brought up the point of what part of the fish did you study? Was it the paw? Was it the hiku? Was it the head? Was it the tail? Because the head is where all of the chemicals are concentrated, and in the na'au. And so you know, as an advocate and a kikioka aina that aloha au aina. And Molokai, you know, has had the reputation of always being very passionate in protecting our aina and our resources. And it is because of that aloha for our hanauka ho e hikimayana. For those generations, many generations yet to come, that we did malama those resources that will malama them who are to come. And so, as I kapo'o all that has been said by those who have been, who have questioned, who have been critical of the study, and especially of the process of consultation with cultural practitioners and kupuna of this aina. So mahalo for your time, mahalo for allowing me from Molokai to express the mana'o and on behalf of the Ahakioi. Mahalo. Aloha, aloha kuna, and kupuna. My name is Leimana Damate, and I come from the Akua of Kahaku in the Moku of Ka'u, Moku Okeawe, island of Hawaii. Although my direct ancestors were Owen Holt and Tawati Holt from Kaha, and Lihu Inui Ahanakalani from the Ewa Plains of Lihue. I tell you that because I just wanted to share how precious and special Waianae is, this whole entire coastline. What Auntie Vanda just related to you is something that we have been striving for a long time. And that is to make sure to connect the aina and the ocean to whatever activities are going on. The health of the Native Hawaiian people are directly connected to the health of the natural resources. And in our studies in the last 3-5 years maybe, we have come to believe through the 43 moku in the state of Hawaii that each moku is special, each moku is site-specific with distinct geographic properties. In your study, which we feel actually is a good one, we looked at it and we tried to get through all of the terminology. It was probably done by some of the best Western scientists. What's missing, what can help to make this study a better one, a stronger one, is to incorporate the Native Hawaiian science into the Western science. In other words, what Auntie Vanda had just related to you is probably the key. The Native Hawaiian people of the coast of Waianae, of the area, know Makua the best. We've been working with a lot of the Native Hawaiian cultural practitioners in the past 2 years. And although they were asked to come to the hearing, they are more ma'a, they're more comfortable in talking in smaller groups. They don't like to come out to a big public hearing, but they have a lot of information to share. Some of that information that was related to me in regards to Makua is that during the certain seasons, like Auntie Vanda said, the currents run different ways. And if there are any pollutants that come down, it's not going to only affect Makua, it's going to go all the way down to Pearl Harbor, and then all the way around to Kaena Point. It depends on the season, it depends on what's going on in nature. Makua is a very special and distinct ecosystem. When you did the comparative studies on Nanakuli and Sandy Beach, you were working with different moku that had different properties, different geographical properties. Sandy Beach is no way close to what Makua is. It's a whole different moku, and it's on the other side of the island. So, where you may see a similarity, the Hawaiian people will see it in a different perspective. The study, we feel, can be stronger, it can be better, if you are able to connect with the Native Hawaiian cultural practitioners of the Waianae area and talk to the kupuna and let them tell you exactly what happens. Like Auntie Vanda also said, you know, what spawns in the ocean is the exact same thing is harvesting in the mountain. What happens on the land affects the ocean all the way out and vice versa. And it's not only right here, it's all along the whole coast. So we ask that you actually take another look, strengthen the report and the study. Mr. Isla brought up a lot of good points on that. And talk to the Hawaiian people. We didn't see any references in your reference portion of what Native Hawaiian cultural practitioners, expert Lavaia and Mahi'ai, were consulted. And they're the ones that can tell you when the vana is fat, which is the best delicacy, when the haukiuki is fat. And when that's fat, what is a native endemic plant that is blooming at the top of the mountain or within the mountain? Because it always is. It's that directly connected. So I just wanted to share some insights with you. Thank you very much.
Mana, and mana also comes to us from Ka'u, on Hawaii Island. Before Uncle Albert comes up here, I just would like to say that I know that there's been a lot of Hawaiian words that have come forth in the testimonies, and not to worry. We do have a tape recorder here that will be put into disc, and Malia will be given to Malia, so she will make sure that the words are correct, and they will be entered into record. Please, Uncle Albert.
Aloha, everyone. This evening gives us all a chance, a time to express ourselves. Each one of us has his or her own opinion. My problem is, because of my ancestral beginnings, I might look like a sheet of whatever. But believe me, my roots go back a couple hundred years at least here on the Waianae coast. I am not speaking to you as an authority. I am speaking to you as a keiki hanau poka'aina. The military has gone, I personally feel, beyond their expectations. For all what I've been hearing tonight is so much in books. Scientific? Yes. Very scientific. But then how does that come down to me, to this person? It's the same like how it goes to you. Dot the I's, cross the T's, and all of that, and make it readable or justifiable. What does that do to our country, America? We are really poho. Poho is lost. That's what it means. Lost, wasted. And let me tell you, I respect everyone's opinion, but there is so much lost in all what we're trying to accomplish. We have this responsibility to defend our America. We're in such a deep hole financially. Nothing new to you, nothing new to me. But can you imagine the cost that we have to train people who go out there at harm's way, in harm's way, and defend us from the enemy? Yeah, we just go down the road and we drive, we pedal to the metal, and we do all of that. But then, do we ever count our blessings? Because, you know what? Doesn't concern us. Concerns somebody else. And they have to justify to us how well they are taking care of the island. Sure, that's good. I appreciate that. But we have so many people out there that are watching out for us. Little do we realize that. Here in Hawaii, we have the Department of Health, we have the Board of Health, we have the environmentalists, we have all that experts. And yet, it seems like we're having a hard time to digest this printout. Very, very difficult time to read, to understand the printout. The text has got too many pukas in it. We put the pukas in the text that we read. Very simple. Very simple. They forgot to put the da, they forgot to put the it, they forgot to put whatever. It's that simple. But now, getting back to our country, America. We have many Hawaiian boys that have given their lives. So it's not about Hawaiians. No. It's not about Hawaiians. It's not about anybody but us Americans. We are still America, believe me. We're hoping that we can have some kind of a recognition from the U.S. government. But in the meantime, we best live best we know how. We take care of the island, but we shouldn't overbear. We should be reasonable. We should be grateful that there are people out there willing to sacrifice their lives and mock it. And they come home, they go alive, they come back in a box. And they have a military service for them. Like a 21-gun salute. That's simple. But do we care? Yes, we care. I know everybody cares. But I'm trying to make a point that this idea of, more information, there gotta be an end to it. Why not? Be reasonable. Nothing wrong with being reasonable. What about the Ho'oponopono? We Hawaiians, we know about the Ho'oponopono. And what does that mean? Make things right. There has to be a balance. Things got to be right. If not, we are not the people that we claim to be. Thank you.
Then we're going to take a 5-minute break and then continue. My comments are going to be very brief compared to the previous ones because many of the previous speakers said what is in my heart and concerns. I'm just wondering if it would be possible to do a public health study comparing the health and the length of life of the people who use Makua and who fish there and who eat the fish with people in some really controlled part of the island. Then another question I have is the appropriateness of continuing to use Makua for military training. Is the topography of Makua so much like the topography of Iraq or Afghanistan or anywhere else where we have military or expect to have military, that they couldn't find a place that doesn't have the cultural connections that Makua does for the training? And
finally let us remind the military that there was a promise made that, I think it was in 1942, that as soon as the war is over, all of you people that we pushed out of Makua Valley can come back.
And how did that cover?